Hey, hi everyone, welcome to another session of Azure DevOps series. So in our previous session, we have set up our container repository, and in this session, we are going to deploy this particular image onto our Kubernetes cluster, on our Azure Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so let's get on with the demo. So let me just open my Azure CLI. All right, so let me just expand it. All right, so we have everything handy, and apart from this, there would be, okay, let me create our cluster first. So we will be using az aks create hyphen hyphen resource group. Okay, so resource group would be, we need this is our resource group. So let me copy it from here, and then we need to provide the name of our cluster, fun hyphen name. So name would be cluster 24. That will do, right? And we also need to pass the location. Location we will be keeping East US, but prior to location we also need to specify how many nodes are there, how many nodes we need, right? So we will keep it to, and I guess we are good. So what we are saying is create a cluster with name cluster 24 with 2 nodes. Location would be this. Let's run this and we'll see. Okay, so this will spin up the container for us. Not container, this will spin up the Azure Kubernetes cluster for us, but this will take some time. In the meantime, I will run you through with 2 files, right? All right, so I have 2 files. One is this one, deployment.yml, which we will be using for deployment, and the second one is the service one. So let me run you through with this one. So deployment is like we are notifying the API version. So app slash version 1 we are saying. Then kind, it is kind of object we are using, which Kubernetes object we are using. So this is deployment. So in our below configuration, you can see the object type is service. So this is how we can get to know whether this is a pod or this is a container or this is a config map and all, right? Then the metadata information, just telling the name of this deployment. So the name of this deployment is this one only. Okay. In the specification part, we are telling how many replicas we are going to create. So 2 replicas. Okay. Then the selector part, how will you get to know which app I need to pick? Like what would be the selecting parameter? So we are choosing app and app with this particular label, right? We will pick this. So the pod which is running this particular app, we will be picking those only. Then in template, again template we will be providing 2 things, metadata and a specification. So metadata is nothing but having label which is having app with this label. That is one. Second, in specification it is telling that this is a container. So the name of container is the same only. So we are using same name as container, label, app and deployment. So don't get confused. But this is how you can keep the things. These all are different only. So this is the name of container. This is the label which we are trying to apply. Then this is the app name which deployment object will be looking forward for. and then this is the name of deployment itself, like, right? And then image, we are just giving the fully qualified name of our container repository. Okay, then container port 8080, because this is a simple Nginx. Now this is our deployment. So deployment you can consider as an object of your life cycle. The moment you create deployment, it means you are creating an object of your application, right? And based on this you can customize. Now service, everything like deployment is done, that is related to application, but how will you expose it? So in order to expose, we can use it as a service, right? So there are again multiple types of service. In this case we are using load balancer. Okay, so again API version, what kind of object is this? So this is a service kind of object. What is the name of this service? Same name. So deployment, there is no such rule that you cannot use the same name. Specification, type. So this type is load balancer. It could be node port, IP cluster, external name, that is like depend, but in our use case we will be using load balancer. Port 8080 on which the container will listen it, and target port would be 8080 on which it will be exposed through outside world. Okay, selector app would be my Nginx. So let me check whether our cluster is up or not. So as you can see, our cluster is up and running. Okay, so let's get ourselves authenticated with this one. Okay, so Azure AZAKS get credentials, and then followed by your resource group name and your cluster name. So I'll be borrowing it from this command itself, so there would be no typo. All right, so let's authenticate ourselves. Okay, so again name we are not able to pass, not able to copy it completely. No worries, we'll be giving again. So cluster 24 is the name of our cluster, and we are now in. And as you can see that under this configuration, you can see our like this is the configuration of our current namespace, right? Okay, let me just run kubectl get pods. So no pods is there. Get deploy, nothing is there. Q okay. So two nodes are there, which is requested by our command itself. So kubectl is the command through which you can do the interaction within the cluster. It doesn't matter whether you are using Azure or you are using any cloud platform. Kubectl will work. All right, so this is done. Now what we can do is, right now only two nodes are up. There is no namespace, nothing. So what we can do, we can quickly create a we quickly create a deployment.yml, right? And as you can see, it's already there only. Like this is the copy pasted version of our file, right? So this is there. Let me just escape :wq and exit. If I do ls, so I guess like service also, let me just cat it. So this is already copied here and all, right? You can match it. Alright, so we can get on with the deployment. Now these are the files only. How would you deploy these files? So we can simply type kubectl apply -f for file. Which file you want to deploy? So first of all, we need to do the deployment.yml. So let me do this and let me check. So we'll be just checking whether the deployment was done or not. So if you do kubectl get deploy, you will see that nginx. This is the name of our deployment which is there. Now let me just check for the pod. kubectl get po. So if we do kubectl get po, and then like you will see that okay, it is throwing image pull back off. So either our image is corrupt or there would be a authentication problem, right? So we are getting error on our nodes and all. So since as you can see that there is no connection between our mm, uh, container repository and our Kubernetes cluster itself. So that would be the first point of like authentication would be an issue. So what I'll do is I will do kubectl delete deploy and the name of deployment. So I am going to delete this deployment, and okay, this is deleted, but let me just check. So this is deleted. Now if I do kubectl get po, this is also deleted, right? So now we will do the authentication first. So basically there is no role assignment in between our cluster, Kubernetes cluster, and our container repository. In order to do this, what we can do is add aks update. And what we are going to update, so we are going to update our cluster with -n. So n would be the name of our resource group, which is this. Let me just copy it. No, not this one. We'll go to, okay, and -g. So this stands for our resource group. Sorry. So this one is for resource group and this one is the name of cluster. So name of cluster would be, just give me a moment, I'll be copying the name of cluster. So cluster name is cluster 24. Okay, so we'll be passing cluster 24 g, and then we will do say hyphen atach attach -acr and the name of our ACR. So what is the name of our ACR? So name of our ACR is this only. Alright, so we are updating our cluster and attaching this repository, container repository to our cluster so that we can get through. Let me just run this. We'll see whether it is complaining something, then we'll provide, otherwise we'll be through. So I guess we are through. It is saying that a role propagation is done. So this is what. So see guys, we have created a container repository and not attach it with our cluster. So how would it not authenticate and all? Since it is running, we are good. I guess this will resolve the problem. So I'm just waiting for this to be completed and then we'll get on. So generally you will find this image pullback off error when your image itself is corrupted. So the second thing is we will need to check whether our image is working fine or not. But this is the first point of concern. Okay, now we will try to redeploy. If we get this error again, then we will check for our images. Okay, so updation will not take much time. So don't bother much about this -g and -n. This is just the short form which I am using. You know, like --name, resource group, and then attach ACR is straightforward. We are attaching it in such a way that this will work. Alright, so let's wait, and it's done. Alright, so what I'll do is, Let me quickly do the deployment again and check whether this is an issue with our deployment or this is an issue with our. So I have reapplied kubectl get deploy. So 2 by 2 is ready. So I guess this is only related to authentication only. So kubectl get. So you can see that both are running, right? So both are running and it's up and running and fine. So now what we can do is let me just deploy the service as well. And if we do kubectl get svc, it's pending. Okay, so IP is not yet assigned. Let's check for another time. So it has assigned the IP. Now our image and that service is up. So I'll just go to this IP colon 80 and we'll see. It is still not resolving, or maybe the net is slow, not sure. But let me check. This is our IP. So copy this and it should be accessible here, right? Okay, it is not exposing there, whereas it is working fine, right? So IP is there, external IP. Through this external IP we can take it up. Let me curl it. Just give me a moment. Curl colon slash slash followed by this. Yeah, so curl we are able to access it. I guess this should work here as well. No, that there might be some issue. Okay, let me try for this port as well. So our service should be up and running and we should be able to access it because we are able to curl it. So this should work here as well because we have exposed it as a, as a, so here we are. So it was taking some time, maybe because of net or something. So, but now we are able to access our image and all. Okay. And we have, just give me a moment, and we have also verified it by doing this curl as well. All right, so this is what I wanted to demonstrate you, that how we can leverage our container repository images to our through how can we deploy them through our Kubernetes cluster. So I hope you enjoy this session. This is what I have planned for this one. Thanks for watching it. If you really find it worthy, please like and subscribe. Thank you.